Yeah, you're live.
Thank you. Hello and welcome to the YBMB Show, the third live show of the week. And I think about our 86th, 87th show now. We're doing 100 before we sort of wrap it all up into some top tips. So if there's anything missing so far that you think that you'd like me to talk to you about, then just drop me a line on any of the different platforms and I'll make sure I cover it. Today is the business day. Mondays we talk about body, Wednesday's mindset, and Friday's business. Last Friday I spoke to you about niche, client niches, or niches as they say about them in America. And I talked about the fact that much as when I ask people, you know, about their business goals and their size of the business they want to build and everything, much as people say, well, you know, I could sell this to everybody, you know, if everybody in the world were just to pay £1, you know, it's going to be like a 7 billion turnover company. The fact is that you really only can sell something that someone really, really wants, and the reason they will want it is it will fulfill a need. And so your best chance of selling something, whether it's a product or a service, is to make sure you know what that need is, and to make sure obviously that you can fulfill that need. Try and make it as unique as possible so that it's only you that can fulfill it, and then identify who exactly has that need. And then after that, you can more easily sell your products and services. It's never easy until it is, but you have to take account of all of those things. The reason I want to talk about clients as well is that when you get your client selection correct, it is an absolute pleasure to work with them. So yesterday, you know, we spent all day with one of our key clients, really fantastic client who's worked with us for the long term, has been, you know, hugely coachable and very, very collaborative in the solution as well, and has achieved a really amazing result, even beyond her expectations and ours too, in all sorts of ways, not just body, but mindset and business, the whole thing. And that's because she was just such a perfect client for us, and we were such a perfect solution for her. So the client and service provider fit was just sort of spot on, and that's really what you're aiming for. So how do you get that? Well, the first thing is that you do have to be clear on your niche, and I did talk about that last week if you want to go back and listen to that, but briefly, you know, I covered things about, you know, identifying what your strengths are, what your passions are, whether you truly do know enough to be able to provide a unique solution, and then after that, you know, sort of finding the people that have the appropriate criteria for you to then start to sell your product or your service. And then it doesn't feel like selling, and it actually even doesn't feel like work when you're delivering. You really just then feel like you are serving, you know, because you get in your state of flow. It's easy to you. And, you know, that particular client mentioned to me yesterday that, you know, it doesn't sort of seem like work, you seem to enjoy it. And honestly, when you get to a point where you're delivering something that someone really needs and they're getting the result that you want them to, then it doesn't feel like work. You know, it is really the panacea. So that's what we all want when we're in business. So I just wanted to continue to talk about that a little bit more. So go beyond niche and talk about your client in a bit more detail. And today, I'm talking about the right client. I'm talking about the client avatar. And what does that mean? That means that, you know, the only way that you are going to really strike a chord with your client is if you know them quite intimately, and therefore you know exactly what it is that's going to fulfill their need, their desire, and you know that your solution is the right one. So how do you do that? Well, you've got to start to know your client. And so I've got a few tips here to sort of bring that to life for you a little bit. Some questions for you to take a note of if you want, and to start to create your client avatar. Your client avatar really is a description of the perfect client for you, because once you know that, as I've said before, you can then identify where these clients are, how many of them are there around, you know, in your area that you want to, within which you want to operate, and consequently you can start to target volumes. So firstly, where do they live? You know, is this an international client, or is it a national or a local client? How old are they? I mean, I've done this for all of my, you know, all of our businesses that we've had in the past. So how old is this client? What's their level of education? You know, have they sort of done extra qualifications? Are they, oops, sorry, I've got a call here. Hold on, let me just get rid of that. I'll just drop that down for a moment. Hold on. You know, what's their level of education? What is it that they do? What have they accomplished in their lives up until this point? And then, how do they actually spend their typical week? Really think about, because what we want to get you to, in terms of being the provider of whatever it is a really intimate knowledge of this client. So how do they spend their typical week? And I'll ask some other key questions in a minute, which bring it even more to life. What do they actually do outside of work as well as inside work? So the typical things they do, but not just what their profession is, but what are they actually doing on a day-to-day basis? Things from what time do they get up? Have they got children? What's their routine? All things like that. And you notice that none of this really is to do with the actual industry or product or service at this point. Where do they get their news? How much money do they tend to make per annum? How do they feel about their job? What are their concerns in their life? This is really important, because people will do more to run away from things that really concern them than they will to go and achieve their goals. So you may have a really aspirational product or service that you are selling, but if you can start to look at what they're trying to sort of get away from as well, that can be a very important part of your messaging. So what are their concerns in life? And what aspects of their life or personality affect how you market your product to them? So, if you are selling, I don't know, clothing, let's say, then, and it's glamorous clothing, then you're going to want to find people that are going out and about to places where that type of clothing is appropriate. Weight loss products, for example, personal training or personal training equipment, then that might be for individuals who are trying to achieve a certain level of fitness or already properly involved in that already, and so on. So you've got to think about aspects of their life that are relevant to the product that you're selling or service. Their history, what happened in the past that led them up to this point, and how do they feel about what happened in the past? Have they had a former job or an experience or a trip or something like that, which is relevant? Because you want to get to a point where you can actually almost document the typical life history of your client. What are they currently interested in at the moment? So, taking into account their past history. Don't forget, this is an avatar, so it's a typical one. What would be their next step now? What are they looking to achieve? Is it, whether it's in their job or their lifestyle or their travel or whatever it is? What's their family and their relationship status? Because sometimes, what you're selling could really influence the people around them, and that will influence their buying decisions. Are they married, divorced, single? Do they have children? How many? Does anything about their relationship have a bearing on how they might use their products as well? So, for example, if you're selling events, then maybe you want to appeal to people who are looking to meet a new person, so maybe there's an aspect of it. So that's going to be important. Does your product address any of their concerns that relate to their family? Again, you can think about it from a family perspective. What is it about your product that matters to this person? That is really, really important, because it's going to have such a bearing on the branding message. If people jump into marketing, I must get my website done, I've got to start doing Facebook posts, and yet they don't actually know what it is they're going to say other than buy my product. And you don't want to be saying that. You actually want to say, this is what this is going to do for you. This is the solution that this is going to achieve for you. So how does it solve a need, ease a pain, make them feel good? How does it better their life? And what sorts of thoughts should go through this person's head right before they decide to purchase? I.e., what is that sort of, final straw that is going to make them come and, get your product or service? So is it that maybe they lose a job? Is it that they get a new job? Is it that they get divorced, or is it they have got a new relationship? Is it that their children have just left home, or is it they're just about to have a new child? So what stage of their life and what is the trigger? Because that's really going to help you to identify your target market. And there's some other really good questions when you're thinking about this avatar are these. What actually keeps them awake at night? What keeps them, staring up at the ceiling in the middle of the night and thinking, oh God, this, that, that. Everyone's had sleepless nights like that. So what is their main worry? How does that relate to what you're offering? So what are they afraid of? Or what are they angry about? Who are they angry about? The other side of the coin is, who do they love? What do they love? What really interests them? Where do they want to be spending their time? What's their top daily frustrations? What's something that niggles them and annoys them the whole time? How does that relate to your product or service? What trends are occurring and will occur in their business or in their life? And I've spoken about trends before as well. It's so important when you as a business owner or as someone selling a product or a service is thinking about, you know, what you're selling. It's not just about what's happening to that individual, but looking more widely at what's happening around them, because what's happening around them is going to influence them as well and how they think. Is there a built-in bias to how they make decisions? So, for example, if you're trying to sell software, let's say, then the people that are buying it are probably going to be more analytical types of individuals compared to if you are going to maybe sell something creative, where the person buying it might be more, I don't know, you know, more emotionally aware, or they may go with their gut a little bit more. So just think about it from that perspective as well. Do they have their own type of language? You know, different types of people have different types of language. So if you're selling a personal development product, then there will be a range of languages that are used, phrases and concepts that these people, that your target buyer, your avatar is familiar with. Same in, you know, the engineering example or any other examples like that. Importantly, who else is selling something similar, and you know, how are they selling it and how are they doing? And you know, if they are doing well, who's their client group? What's the key messages that they are using? Because obviously those are clearly resonating if that company is doing well. And who else has tried selling your target market a similar service or something anyway, and how has that gone? You know, if they've had other people coming along and trying to sell them things, then have those other sellers been successful or not? And so as much of this sort of investigation that you can do up front, the more you can do, the more effective it's going to be in creating your client avatar, your target client. And why do you need that? Because then you can start to speak their language. You can start to speak to them about things that really matter to them. And consequently, you're going to create a product or a service which is going to make a difference to them. And in the end, if you can do that, and if you can really add value, then you know you're going to succeed, and you're going to sell some products or service, and you're going to have a business there, or you know, you're going to be successful if you're selling on behalf of another company. So that's really a little bit more about clients and client avatars. I got asked about that last week, so I hope that's been useful. On the YBMB side, just to remind you what we do here is that we are teaching primarily mid-life professional women, particularly corporate women, women who have had some success and you know, are in a position now, maybe they've plateaued, or maybe, you know, they are just about to start that sort of new next job, and they're feeling that it's going to be a bit of a challenge. And very often when people get to this level, particularly women, you know, they've had so many different responsibilities thrown at them that they've neglected themselves a little bit. And so they're not as physically strong as they want to be. They may be a bit more overweight and underdeveloped in terms of their physique than they want to be. Their mindset may have taken a bashing. They may not feel quite as vibrant and as confident as they want to and need to. And all of those things, as I discovered myself and as so many of my other clients have discovered, those things influence how you perform in your business. Turn those around, get physically strong, stronger than you've ever been, look better than you ever have done physically because you're now so much stronger. That has a tremendous impact on your mindset. You feel like if you can do that, like my client yesterday and like myself, if you can do things like that with your body, regardless of your age and regardless of the circumstances around you, if you feel you can do that, once you realize you can do that, and everybody can, by the way, you then, you know, you have an awakening really that then you can do anything else that you put your mind to. Because I think, as we were saying yesterday, as I said to my client, you know, she was sort of looking at all these different outfits, and you know, what I said to her is something that I heard a while back, is that a great outfit, no matter how great the outfit is, it can never ever be a great body. You know, you can't go and buy this great body. You know, you can just basically build it, and it is accessible to anybody. And once you do that, it makes you feel so empowered, And it makes you realize that success in business is accessible to everybody and anybody as well. And so what we do in the program is we tackle all three. You know, we really get to grips with people's physicality very, very quickly. We teach them to weight train from scratch, even if they never have touched a dumbbell, done any weight training, they have no equipment, we teach them from scratch. They start to see big physical transformations in under 3 weeks. I mean, really quickly once they start to do it. That has a great impact on their mindset. And we spend several weeks and all sorts of different techniques working on their mindset as well, so that, you know, it's not a flash in the pan, it becomes more of a habit and a lifestyle. And then we really address the questions of the business, and if they want to get a new job, a different job, perform better in the current job that they're in, or if they want to start a business, grow their business, change their business, rescue their business, whatever it is. You know, we really get to grips with that as well. And people come out and, you know, they come out as a second version of them. We call it version 2.0. And some people then stay and they start working on version 3.0. So it's marvelous. You know, you start to really unleash the potential on this program. And that's why, you know, our main offering is, we call it longevity, because it's it teaches all aspects of longevity, not just living a long time, but being very well equipped in every aspect, physically, mentally, and financially, and you know, having the level of success that you need to not only be here for a long time, but be here very productively and impactfully as well. So that's the end of my Friday session with YBMB. I hope you enjoyed. If there's anything else that you want me to cover on this or anything else, body, mind and business, do let me know. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my free hints and tips, because I do that every day, every weekday. Lots of videos and things like that. And of course, I would heavily recommend that you jump on board with the program. We've got 3 different levels. You can jump on demand if you wish. If you want to do it in your own time, just dip your toe in, or much more sort of proactively, I suppose, I would suggest that you jump on our longevity program, and then, you know, I can meet you and we can start doing group coaching together, and I can do some one-to-ones with you and everything like that. So lovely to speak to you again, and have a great weekend. Not raining at the moment, so that's good. And I'll speak to you on Monday.